Hi, my name's Sonia.
I am Daniel, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite movies from this year. And this is our first attempt to try and make a podcast, and we thought movies would be a good subject.
We picked 5 movies, and we're going to start with the bottom, or it's still the top.
Number 5.
We'll start with number 5.
The good list of movies.
I'll go first, Daniel.
Go ahead.
Okay. So number 5 for me was The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it. I like San Francisco, first of all. I liked the style of the look of the movie.
The colors especially are
Yeah.
beautiful, and the lighting too.
I liked that it was kind of done in the past, and so it really gave...
But in a modern setting, because it was a modern time.
Well,
And it was about history too, of his grandfather.
Yeah, for me it was about like identity and family. Also class, like the divide of the class. And,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
yeah, and I know San Francisco has that sort of problem going on with gentrification. It's a big thing in the city, and it's
Big thing in the movie too. Even just like the goal of owning a big historic house almost.
Yeah, and
Or
just
the house in general.
how things are being lost because of that, some of that historical side. I know this was a debut director, Joe Tablet, I think.
I did not know that was his first big movie.
Yeah, that's his first movie, and he was actually born in San Francisco, which I thought was really interesting.
That makes sense.
I put a reference here to a film that I saw when I was a little kid, and it's a film that was done in Montreal, and it's Lies My Father Told Me. And I thought that was an interesting reference. I don't want to ruin anything about the movie, but that's more of a Jewish film, and also to do with identity and a son
And like family
his father.
history type of stuff? Or like family...
No, I guess it's cultural, right?
Yeah.
And so this movie was really, if I can say, like a black cast. It
No,
was really,
absolutely, yeah.
showing even the divide. I mean, there are other characters in it, 2 neighbors, right? The rich people the white people who, were getting the benefits of, the older house or loans from the bank and things like that. So there's a lot of that class going on in the film.
Their advantages.
But I really like the quietness of the film and
Yeah, it was really pretty.
the relationships that were going on and community.
That's one thing. It's not in my top 5, but if we did top 10, it would have made it. It definitely focused on like male friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Love.
Yeah, love between like 2 friends, which I found to be interesting because I don't usually see movies focus on those kind of relationships.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually maybe a father-son relationship or...
Yeah, like friends that you've been friends
family.
with for your whole
Yeah,
life.
and those were the two main characters of the film, and you really got to know their relationship and them as individuals too. And I thought that was really interesting.
So that's my 5. Do you want to do your number 5?
All right, but yeah.
This is going to take a while.
That's okay. I have a big hard drive.
Okay.
So my number 5, I think will surprise you. My number 5 is Beach Bum.
I don't know.
With
Matthew
McConaughey.
I didn't even think about that one in the top 5. Yeah.
The Harmony...
Yeah.
I might be saying his name wrong. Harmony Korine director? The guy who made Spring Breakers. He actually wrote Kids also, which I did not know until I looked it up. And I just thought Beach Bum, maybe like not as deep as San Francisco.
Yeah.
I found it just to be a really interesting hangout movie.
He was an eccentric guy, right? I remember he was very eccentric.
But it's a very like... It kind of reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or a few other movies where it's like you're just hanging out with this character as he meets other people and like their funny interactions.
Well, it was also
and like bizarre scenarios to get into.
The excess of rich people like doing nothing with their money, basically.
Yeah, kind of like just being a jackass, which his main character was, which I kind of loved. But it was also very like poetic and beautiful in that way, and like I love the colors of the movie. The lighting of the movie. I also just love all the different characters he interacts with, whether it was like the fisherman or Zac Efron, which I thought was like a highlight of the entire movie. His character was bizarre. I've never seen him act that way.
The main character of the film, I'm not usually a fan of him per se as an actor, but
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, but for that role, he was perfect. Yeah.
He reminded me. It kind of reminds me of the dude from.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh my god, I'm brain. Big Lebowski. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was inspired when he did that role.
Oh, for sure, because it feels like almost like a modern version of that character, and even maybe into a more extreme.
Well, I can see that the connection between those two movies that we picked, as far as like class goes and rich.
In different ways, yeah. They tackle it in different ways. But yeah, I just thought. Like a lot, it actually had some bad ratings when I looked at reviews. But then, like, I had friends who are fans of this director, and I watched it myself. I don't know. I think it's like one of the most fun movies of the year. You can watch it by yourself, or you can watch it with a group of friends and laugh at like the bizarre character interactions.
Very cool.
And it's just a fun movie. I really liked it. Go ahead.
So for number 4, I picked The Farewell. With
true.
With director, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Lulu Lang.
I think you are.
Who I understand originally is like a rap singer, I think.
That's the main actor.
But she is also the director. She's also the director. You didn't know that?
Not the main star.
Yeah.
She didn't make the movie, Mom.
What? I understood she was the director.
I think you got mixed up. Those are two different people.
No, I thought she's the director of that film.
No.
Are you serious?
Those are two different people.
I thought she was the director. Like
she was the main star. She was good. I like her in that movie. And the main star, the main star is the one who makes rap music. I've listened to her stuff before. She's actually pretty good.
So I apologize. I don't know who the director is then of this. Maybe that's something you can check up for me as we're talking.
I will.
What I liked about this was the sort of the Chinese American cultural differences and the family. And I know that this was a bit confusing. Was it a foreign film? Was it an American film?
Wait, you got the name right. That's the director, Lulu Wang.
Okay.
But the main actor is Awkwafina.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a slight. You got the name right.
Yeah. Sorry.
But she was not the star.
Okay. Well, the interesting thing, I did a little research on this film. Like I said, I really liked it because of the cultural, sort of backdrop of sort of...
That was probably one of the coolest parts of it.
Yeah, being born an American, but visibly being Chinese and having the parents that were newcomers.
Which was also interesting as like a production of a film, because it was an American film, but like most of the film is in Chinese. Most of the film has Chinese actors. I'm not sure. I know Awkwafina is from America or New York, I believe, but I'm not sure about the rest of the cast, so I'm not 100% on that. But that was an interesting. I remember seeing an interview with the director how she had problems getting production because American companies didn't want to do it, and the Chinese companies didn't want to do it, or they wanted them to change it too much to Americanize it or make it too Chinese. For the subjects.
Yeah. Well, that's
A24 was the only one that was like willing to do it from the interview I saw with her.
Well, I think it's an important movie in that way, for sure. And I think there should be, for sure, more of these kind of movies happening because they represent
a lot of people.
Right? And,
yeah.
Including myself. And my father immigrated, so, this is the new voice that has to be coming out, I think. What's really interesting too about this film, again, did a little research. The whole thing is based in part on the director's life experiences, and it actually came about, this whole story, from the podcast This American Life. It was an interview with the director and a subject sort of that happened, and so this whole story is from that podcast.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so...
No, it's interesting, too, because, like, I have a lot of friends or know people that are, like, in similar situations where they're, like, maybe struggle to identify which country they relate to and, like, what kind of friends they make. Even just, like, if they're from somewhere else but they no longer speak the language. I know a lot of people like that for not just Asian cultures, but, like, other cultures.
Again, another film to do with identity.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And that family dynamic, secrets, and
the family drama was probably the best thing about the film, and like the characters having different things they agreed with for the situation of the grandma not telling them. And also, like, culturally, it was interesting because apparently that's normal. Don't tell old people they're dying. But, like, America, maybe not. Definitely not so much of a normal.
Yeah, just
definitely. And that kind of clash of ideas, that's what the film really focused on. I also love the locations they went to in China, to where they filmed. I thought was really cool.
Just little details, like there's a scene with a family eating dinner, and it's
the food made me hungry in that movie.
Definitely wanted to be eating with them.
Yeah,
so that's my number 4.
That's a good number 4.
What's yours, Daniel?
And again, that's the Farewell is another movie that I think I would have added for top 10, but I did not add my top 5. My number 4 is Waves by Trey Edward Schultz.
Again, I didn't even think of that one. That's definitely on mine. I would now change my list for that one.
I've slowly become a bigger and bigger fan of Trey Edward Schultz. This is his 3rd movie. I'm not sure if he did shorts before this, but I've seen his main big 3 movies.
Yeah,
Krisha, What Comes at Night, and now Waves. And I don't know, I just thought Waves was just, it's another like family drama now that I think about it.
Is that the same director? Do you know the movie before?
It Comes at Night.
It Comes at, okay, yeah.
And you haven't seen Krisha yet, and you need to watch Krisha. Krisha's crazy.
It kind of, for a second I thought it might have been the same director as The Florida Project.
I can see why you thought that, but no, it's not.
Yeah.
Those are 2 different people.
One of my favorite parts of that film was the house, and just the fact that they were in sort of an upper class or middle class home.
Yeah, they weren't like a struggling family. It wasn't really about them struggling financially. It was more like...
No, again, about identity and who they are in society, and that...
Yeah, and it focused... Yeah. And I liked how the film... The main focus was the son and the daughter in the second half. But also the parents were a pretty big focus, especially the father.
Yeah, some good scenes.
I thought the way you viewed the father, the first to the second half, was really interesting. Because the first half, he's very intimidating. You feel scared of him, like the main son does. I forget
the masculinity, the toxic masculinity of the father.
And him being kind of like a scary figure.
My favorite scene is between the stepmother and the son. It's sort of quite an intense scene, and it was just, pretty upsetting.
Oh, yeah, when they're
we don't want to give it away, but
sorry, I just wanted to finish what I was saying. But the second half of the movie, you can see how the father's struggling with what happens in the film, and you definitely relate to him a lot more.
Yeah.
And the fact that the family's like kind of breaking apart a bit, especially in the 3rd quarter of the movie.
There's a beautiful scene with the father and the daughter too.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best scenes in the movie.
There's a great transition in the film too, where things change, right?
Yeah, for switching to the daughter's perspective.
Yeah, that was incredible.
A whole new view on the situation.
I seriously want to change my list now.
That's okay. That one. I also just thought the camera work, it reminded me of a Terrence Malick movie. The camera work was just flowing everywhere. I thought the use of music was really cool, and I thought it was cool that like the director, he totally wrote the songs into the movie, because the characters are like singing it and stuff in some scenes, which I thought was interesting because he would have to get like the license before they made the movie.
Yeah, and we actually got to go hear an interview with the young actor.
I'm brain farting on his name, but yes, we did TIFF Lightbox, and that was cool. Just hearing about his career, working with Trey Edwards and the other cast members on Waves. And yeah, Waves was just like one of the best dramas of the year. And I think one of the most underrated movies of the year.
Yeah.
It got...
Well, the fact that I completely forgot about it.
Like, I think the Spirit Awards had some nominations for it, but there was nothing at the Academy Awards.
You're right. It definitely...
And even like talking to people, I think I know 2 people that saw it. Besides that, like, I don't know anyone else that watched it. So yeah, check out Waves.
Again, really important, family representation of society.
Not just family, but just like almost like a well done like teenager movie for people struggling with like drugs.
Almost Shakespearean film. Shakespearean story.
Of like modern times.
Yeah, just tragedy.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Love and tragedy kind of thing combined.
Yeah, it was just really well done film. So you can go ahead. Number 3 for you.
Number 3. Parasite.
Well, guess what, Mom? Well, my number 3 is...
Oh, now they know you. Now they know I'm your mom.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's your number 3 too?
Parasite.
Yeah.
That's funny. We both picked 3.
Ah.
And we saw this one together, too. So it's just kind of funny.
Yes. Well, you told me about it, and we went together.
I'm the one who dragged you to the movie theaters downtown.
I was open to go see it.
Nah, you wanted to get... You were like, nah, this is too far of a drive. I was like, nah, we're going.
It's true. It took us a long time to get there. But
yeah, because it was only showing a certain theater downtown in Toronto.
So there's a South Korean film that now everybody knows about.
Pretty much. By Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah.
I believe I'm saying that right. And I don't think you've seen his other movies, but I have.
Yeah, maybe I watched
He did the Netflix one.
I did watch. Yeah, I did watch one after.
You watched Okja?
No, the one before that.
That was Okja.
No. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm thinking of another
Snowpiercer?
Korean. No, I don't know. I haven't watched those ones.
No, I don't think you've seen his films. You might be mixing it up. That's okay.
I'll have to add those to my list.
But yeah, I've seen some of his other movies, which I like some of his other movies, like Mother, I thought was actually pretty good. But I wouldn't say I loved any of his other movies. But I definitely think Parasite is his best movie and ended up being one of the best movies of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for like the indie space or like international space, but also for the Academy too, because it just cleared everything.
Again, another film sort of about the contrast between rich and poor. I really like that part of the film. And of course I really like sort of the dark, comedy / thriller. And of course the setting of the house or the where everybody lived,
I thought
the main house and the sort of the lower class house too.
The basement apartment in the street there. I thought that was one of the best parts of the movie was actually the sets, because
definitely.
I was looking it up and they built each of those sets, the house and that street. Not the whole street, but like part of it was CGI, but a good portion of it was real. Because they had to do flooding and stuff. That was like real.
Well, again, it was sort of like this extreme of like comedy, funny but tragedy at the same time, and horror.
It was almost like making, because like I wouldn't say there was any like really bad or good characters in the film. It was more like these two groups of people coming from opposite sides and them just struggling in different ways, or not struggling, or not realizing, like how the rich family doesn't realize other people are struggling. Not because they're in a bubble. Not because they're evil characters, but
they're living in a bubble.
They're in a bubble behind a wall on top of the hill, like to the extreme rich.
Yeah, and there's lots of twists and turns in the film. I also thought it had sort of a bit of a Shakespearean comedy in it, kind of like Much Ado About Nothing, not so much about a love story, but more of that with a combination of kind of a Hitchcock feeling to it, a bit of like what's going to happen kind of thing.
Oh yeah, especially in the second half became much more Hitchcocky. It was just like, or like horror. It became a bit more horror.
Yeah, the house itself sort of had hidden things in it that sort of came about.
Yeah,
as the film went on.
Which you didn't see coming at all. Like you kind of expect it to continue with this like rich / poor themes, which it does, but then it just goes wild in the second half of like, we've been living in the basement. I'm coming from my husband.
Don't give it away too much. But it ends really well too.
If you haven't seen Parasite by now, like what are you doing?
So that was your third.
Yeah, and just to say, I like the ending too, because the ending was almost like...
Well, I don't want to give it away again. Somebody's got to have not seen it.
Nah, they can tune out at this point. Skip a minute if you can't. But I thought the ending was interesting too, with like the son wanting to buy the house once he does school, but it shows it as like a fantasy. And because of like the class he's in, he's never going to be able to get that rich. It was almost like a fantasy in the end.
And didn't you tell me that the house, the fancy house, was actually built for the making of the film? Yeah, which is pretty incredible.
You can really tell because of where the camera is and how it moves in the house.
Yeah,
it was you can tell it was built for the movie. I'm not sure what's happened to it now. Maybe it is a house you can buy.
Maybe tours of it.
Maybe
for selfies. So
God.
For me, the next number 2 and number 1 were really difficult for me to choose.
Okay, I'm wondering if we have similar movies, but go ahead.
So again, I kind of struggled, and I could change them of which one is number one and which one is number two.
Yeah, for sure.
So put number 2, Midsommar.
I thought about adding Midsommar to my list, but I actually did not.
Oh wow! Again,
but I came close between Beach Bum and Midsommar.
Wow! I can't believe that's not on your list.
I would switch those pretty easy. It was just kind of like random. I just picked one of them. I could do either of those movies.
So I did like the movie before Midsommar that the director did, Hereditary. Yeah, I like the story of that and just sort of the, I guess, ups and downs of that film. So Midsommar, I was definitely interested in seeing this director's next film. And Florence Pugh, she was fantastic.
Yeah, she killed it in that movie.
Yeah, the director is Ari Aster.
I think you're saying it right, but yeah.
Yeah, so definitely loved, especially the beginning, the story of the relationship with her and her sister. It was very psychological.
Yeah, that beginning is brutal.
Yeah. Again, we don't want to give it away, but...
whatever.
And just the whole... the trauma.
It's been long enough.
Yeah.
It came out in the summer.
So I thought that was really interesting, and just the whole sort of going on vacation afterwards, just trying to recover from all that trauma and the relationship with her and the boyfriend, or the sort of lack of relationship.
The relationship was actually really well written, because I find usually couples in movies are written like brothers and sisters fighting.
Yeah.
I get that vibe.
No, it really gave you a good example.
It gave you a good example of like two people trying to be nice.
Yeah.
But the boyfriend...
A disintegrating relationship.
Yeah, the boyfriend was just like not into it and like just being really weird and odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, also there's a lot of being sleazy in the movie too.
The whole relationships with the guys in the film, like the friends, it's very competitive and very, again, masculine kind of stuff happening.
Yeah, you could analyze it more that way.
Yeah.
Especially the two guys, because they're writing a paper on the cult.
They're doing their doctorate
with each other. Yeah, you could see the movie that way a little bit.
But once they go on vacation, so-called vacation to this Swedish cult location, I thought that was really interesting artistically too, the set of just the landscape where they are and the artwork and whatever he's wearing.
I loved the costumes. I loved the village they were in for most of the movie. I thought it looked awesome.
So I'm doing a little bit of research.
It was a very pretty movie in general, but go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
One of the things I think I connected with about the artwork, and it reminded me like the Swedish styles and the flowers and the embroidery really kind of reminded me of Hungary a bit. And I actually did some research, and the film, that whole location in Sweden, was actually shot in Budapest. I found
Really?
Yeah, somewhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. But yeah, again, I noticed that sort of male competition happening in the film. And just, she was fantastic. She was so good.
And what she's going...
Her facial expression.
Even though time passes when they leave, she's still like going through it and dealing with it.
Yeah, and just sort of her reaction to sort of some horror things that start to happen, because it's definitely kind of a slasher film, I would say.
Yeah, it's like people being taken out to a certain degree.
It becomes a slasher film.
And it's interesting how like she finds a family in the cult at the end.
Yeah.
It is kind of a happy ending for her. She gets out of a bad relationship and she joins a family. If you think of it that way.
Yeah, but in a bizarre kind of
messed up way, yeah.
With human sacrifices along the way kind of thing.
But she's chill.
Yeah. So incredible. Like, not for everyone. Not for everyone.
No,
I'd say.
definitely not.
It was upsetting. There's certain points that are quite upsetting.
I saw a pair of old people leave while I saw this movie.
No, this is not. I mean, we liked it, but I don't think we are the typical mainstream of what people like. But
no, and I think just like the sex ritual scene and just like how bizarre it tries to be. Some people say it tried too hard. But I don't know. I think the movie was pretty...
but maybe there's one scene with the guy. Yeah, it goes a little bit.
But I found most of the movie to be really creative.
If you liked Hereditary, you're gonna like this a lot.
Actually, there's a lot of debate between these two movies.
Really?
A lot of people like Hereditary more. A lot of people like Midsommar more. I've seen that everywhere online.
Well, I guess it's just different.
Focus on
one's more of a family. They can relate to it if they lived in the suburbs or something like this.
Yeah.
This is harder to relate to because this is a lot about a student's life, like once they're in school and then once they go on an adventure after, like, when school's finished.
Well, after trauma too. That's kind of a
yeah.
big thing, too.
So it's like life is different for people. So at that point in
yeah,
their life,
if it focuses on different stuff, and even just visually, it's polar opposites of each other. So I can see why there's a fan base for each.
So what's your number 2?
Oh, I just want to talk about Midsommar for another minute.
Yeah, because it's so good. And I think I watched it twice. That's how much I loved it.
I've seen it once or twice. I have the director's cut on my hard drive, actually. I've been meaning to watch.
So
also...
Some scenes I missed, like, that are in the director's cut?
Yeah. There's extra stuff.
Oh, okay.
Also, I thought some of the visuals were, like, amazing from, like...
The barn that they sleep in is incredible.
Her dress was incredible.
Yeah.
Even when the characters are, like, tripping out... That's some of the best effects I've seen in a movie for characters like tripping out and them trying to put you in their head. They do it really well with sound and just like stuff moving and like creepy faces in the background. You can notice they do a lot of cool subtle stuff in that movie.
Definitely
So,
worth a watch
for sure. 2 watches because I'm going to watch the director's cut at some point. So that was your number 2?
That's number 2.
That's
which
number 2.
Which I was kind of like edging between back and forth. Should it be number 1?
Yeah, my number 2 is A Hidden Life, the World War II film.
I am blanking out.
The one, the guy refusing to join the German army.
Did I watch that movie?
Yeah,
Yes,
you watched all 3 over hours.
I need to watch that again.
The Terrence Malick movie. He's in the hills. He's refusing to go. He gets killed because of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's about him and the
that's
wife,
beautiful.
the family.
Yeah, that's beautiful. He's fantastic.
Where was it supposed to take place again?
It's in the Alps.
Yeah, and it's based off a real story.
You know what? That one, I did like that one a lot. Now that you say that one too. But it's almost like it's an art piece. The Thin Red Line guy did that, right? Yep. Yeah, it almost feels like not a movie. It's almost like watching
it feels like
a performance art piece.
Kind of. And it's just, that's a lot of his movies where it's just like very beautiful imagery or even violent imagery with like these poetic like almost voiceovers during most of the movie. Like there's conversations here and there, but that's a lot of the movie.
Almost like a music video, like because it's so beautiful. You're just looking at the landscape the whole time.
I would not compare it to a music video at all.
Really?
It's much more subtle and quiet than a music video.
You're right. It's a quieter movie, but that's what's so beautiful.
Some people complained it was overly long, but I don't know. I enjoyed all of it.
It was like being there. Being there. It was like watching a National Geographic underwater thing where you just were sort of in a trance.
You know what? I would compare it more to National Geographic in some ways, especially showing the where they filmed and stuff.
Maybe that's why I kind of, for some reason, forgot it, because it was just so, like, you're in a trance when you watch it.
It's a bit dreamy, which is his style in general.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Again, I have to rethink my list
I thought the drama of him just refusing to do that was so interesting, and the contrast of the beautiful imagery and him going to be killed because of what he's doing.
Yeah. And I thought rebelling. He was going against the grain.
Yeah, and the consequences because of that. And I thought it was interesting. They never really show, like, they show violence and stuff, but they never really show, like, gunfights or, like, the war. Mm-hmm. It's more about like, that situation.
Well, it was about friendship and love. It was love.
Yeah, love between the wife and the husband.
And nature.
And the kids in the film, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and him just, like, not... Yeah, that goes into the main thing of it, him just not wanting to be violent or fight for a violent cause.
Definitely.
I also think it's one of Terrence's better movies in a while, because I watched A Tree of Life and I couldn't finish it. I thought it was way too pretentious. I didn't relate to it. It was beautiful, but I just didn't like it that much. It felt like Terrence trying to make Boyhood in 2001, and it just didn't work for me.
Well, and Boyhood was criticized.
And let's not get into that. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, I'm a fan of the Thin Red Line. So
yeah, same here. If I had to make a top 10 movies of all time, Thin Red Line might be there. But I think because of that subject matter, it really grounds Terrence into what the story and the themes are about. And I think that helps him be a better director, which I think is why I like this movie so much. Yeah,
definitely. Again, not for everybody because of that slow pace. If you can't slow down, then
you
it's
can't
not,
chill out and watch it. If you had trouble with
you know what,
3+ hour movies,
that's the exact reason why you should watch it, in my opinion. But it's not for everybody.
It's not for everyone, but try it. Try it at least.
Now,
and wait, I just want to finish.
Yeah.
Just because the movie's so good, I just love the subject matter they chose to make the movie about. Because you don't hear about this story that much. It's not a typical World War II or I movie.
Well, it's showing the heroes, those stories of people standing up for in the Second World War against Hitler and against.
Yeah, and I find there's just so many World War II movies about there was that one with Brad Pitt, him in the tank.
Yeah,
that's
not even worth mentioning.
And even 1918, I liked it somewhat visually, but I didn't find the subject to be that interesting or unique.
It was more a visual, going on a roller coaster ride in a certain way.
Yeah, with not much story, which I don't mind 1918, but it didn't really compel me to love it. But yeah,
definitely worth watching
for sure.
So. Mine's kind of more mainstream in some ways. My number one. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to agree.
Okay, go for it.
Joker.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's interesting. Why?
Well,
you just loved it that much?
Number one, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, he's the best part of the movie.
An incredible performance. Incredible.
No, he made the movie. If someone else was in it, I don't think.
I don't know who else. Yeah, could do that. But although there was something I watched recently that was pretty spectacular that way. But we're not talking about this year. We're talking about last year. But he was spectacular. There's so much about this that I liked. Again, to do with class. Very relevant to when I watched it, what was going on in politics in America.
Yeah.
To me, it was just right on.
It has a lot to do with mental health, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are the two main themes.
About his character being isolated and bullied and discarded from society.
Not being properly supported.
Yeah, and showing the system of society. To me, that was such good, It
was good subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
It fit the Joker type character too.
Well, and it was almost like sort of that Joseph Campbell kind of Star Wars thing where you empathize with the Joker, why he is the way he is. You're going through that journey to understand how he became who he is, or who he's going to be as more the Batman related.
I don't like sand. You won't get that reference, that other people will. No, I get what you're saying. They did a good job because he's a much more you get to know him type Joker.
You get to see why he
You get to see why he is, how he lives before he becomes the Joker, what makes him the Joker really, which is very different than the Dark Knight Joker.
Yeah, I mean, that was spectacular too, in a different way. And
he's more of a mysterious character.
Well, and it's also for those times kind of thing. And I love that actor, unfortunately, who passed. But no,
but I liked how they did Joker very differently.
Yeah, that was a different time. That was showing him gone insane kind of thing. This was his story. And it was also not a typical superhero
Joker's been done a lot. In many different ways.
And it was hard to top that last performance, too.
So that's probably why they wanted to do so opposite.
Well, very dark, going dark, going deep, and going more serious film, a real drama. But the whole divide of America, to me, that was the incredible part. And there's just a scene with the social worker, and it was just showing you the breakdown of, the problems of, I guess you could say capitalism, right? And
society.
Yeah. So to me, that it was so, right on for, what was happening in the world when that came out. And then I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you didn't like the ending as much, but I really liked the ending. And I thought, and maybe this is
the ending of him in the hospital, or the third act in general.
The very end, sort of, it's I wouldn't say a party, but he's sort of celebrating. It's a violent kind of...
or it's almost like it's a dream, maybe, or something.
He's sort of in the street, basically. and again, I don't want to give it away if someone's
I'm trying to think of exactly which scene you're talking about.
He's in the car. He's sort of on top of the car, standing in the car, and
oh no,
it's a riot kind of.
No, that scene was cool.
Yeah,
I thought the third act of the film was the strongest of the entire movie. Of like as soon as he gets on the talk show and how it goes kind of crazy from there, I thought that was the best part, most well done part of the movie.
Yeah, that was interesting too. But I really liked that last scene of this riot, and to me that, and I think we talked about this too before, and you thought I was going a little too extreme at the time. I don't know if you've changed your mind about this. To me, it was showing again almost this civil war that is about to happen, or that's like happening, bubbling up in America.
No, it's not taking it too far. No, that makes sense.
And that's what made it so even more scary, that ending of the film, because to me,
a war
it could be, reality, this rioting happening. So again, like very powerful stuff.
No, I thought it was a good movie. The only problem with the movie, it's not like a bad movie anyway, I would say.
Well, it's sad. It's dark. To me, it's also like a statement on the loss of kindness.
Oh yeah, and that's true. People not having rights and not trying to
so
help
it's again
people.
really dark. It's not a happy, uplifting movie if you want to go see a comedy.
No, it's a movie.
You're thinking you're going to see the Joker and it's going to be funny. No.
And I love the makeup and stuff too.
Yeah.
It was well done. And Joaquin Phoenix made the movie for me.
Oh yeah.
My only problem with the movie, even though I love the third act, is I think some of the B plots and
there's
some
maybe one
parts of the plot are a bit weaker than others. I thought the imaginary girlfriend was really odd.
Oh, you just ruined that one for somebody.
Yeah, that part. That Joker part by now. It's your fault.
Yeah, that part kind of tweaked me a little bit.
You could have added that part the entire movie, you would not really have missed anything.
Yeah.
Because you already know he's delusional and like makes up stuff in his head. And it's like, why are you showing this through the girlfriend? I thought that was really weird.
Definitely. Well, so for me, again, I kind of struggled back and forth between that and Midsummers, but I ended up saying Joker for number one.
Joker's good. I like Joker. Joker number one. That's crazy.
You didn't even have Joker on your list?
No.
Ah.
I mean, maybe even make it top 10. I'm not sure, though. I liked it. I didn't love it, but that's cool.
So now I'm curious to know what your number one is.
I think my number one is going to surprise you. Because I just watched it.
Oh, but it's from last year.
Yep. Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I had that on, even though we weren't making up other numbers, I did have that.
Damn. I'm surprised that was not on your list.
Yeah, I had like the 5, and then I had put it 3 recommendations, and it was on for my recommendations.
Cool. Yeah, so you watched this movie like the day after me, and I just thought this was like
French film.
Yeah. Man, what did I think about this movie? It is just like a perfect love story and so well done. I thought the location was beautiful, the artwork, and just them showing that the process of the artwork was beautiful.
Maybe for me, being a visual artist, the artwork, like, it was kind of not a typical movie, but I mean,
the artwork was a bit typical. Yeah.
Well, no, I'd seen movies sort of like that before, even though I love the French sort of part of it, and the female part. That was to me more interesting in that film, is sort of it was a female film.
Oh, definitely. And trying to be
so good for you for picking that as number one. It's definitely
progressive in a lot of ways, and a lot of the imagery too.
Yeah, good for you.
Even just one of the paintings she does in the movie of her doing like the abortion thing.
Yeah, then that was interesting as an artist for me. That was interesting because that is underrepresented, those kind of paintings at that time period too. So though it was a woman artist, so yeah.
I also thought its use of music was really interesting because it's very like there's like maybe 2 or 3 moments of music in the whole film, but every time it comes in, it's incredibly powerful and unique. I want to search up who made the music for that movie. I thought the location was awesome. I thought the relationship might be a cut in there. I think it's the best like love movie I've seen since maybe Call Me by Your Name. What else can I say?
I liked it, but I don't know if I mean, it was a pleasant movie. I found it maybe something about it seemed a bit set up for me. And maybe it was...
Like the love story had to happen type of thing?
No, more... I guess it felt a little bit more like a play to me.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, just that things were set up. Like, because it was sort of an intimate scene, everything was like a stage. So it felt a little bit...
It felt a bit fake to you?
A bit. And a bit... Because it was a stage, it was like you couldn't move a lot in it. It was a lot of motion. Like, you weren't walking through rooms or things like that.
Are you talking about the camera work itself?
Yeah, maybe the camera work.
Because I thought the camera work was interesting because the camera would be still in a lot of scenes,
yeah.
But then there'd be a lot of motion.
It just felt like I was more sitting watching a play.
Yeah, maybe I'm just into that.
Yeah, it was just a different way of showing a film.
Yeah,
sure.
I thought
it was more minimalist.
It was minimal, but it was also very pretty at the same time. Of like what they were able to show in those still shots and what the characters were doing.
It was like doing a close up.
Even them showing like the girl having the abortion was a very still, quiet shot.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene.
You're right. There wasn't a lot of movement in the camera work. It was very simple but very effective, I found.
It was definitely an intimate film and meant to be very personal.
I think another underrated movie from last year, because again, I heard a few reviewers talking about it. I saw it was at TIFF Lightbox for a little bit, but besides that, I heard like no one talking about it. I didn't see a trailer.
Definitely a quieter film.
Yeah, that and Hidden Life are like very quiet movies. I think I'm just into those kind of movies.
I'd pick Hidden Life over this one. Definitely.
For Joker?
No, just like if I was picking from those films, yeah, Hidden Life is a good one.
I think I could switch Hidden Life for this either way.
I'm surprised this is your number one. But
I really
subject
liked
matter.
it. I really liked it.
I'm a proud mother that you picked a feminist film.
Thank you.
So we also, I thought it was a good idea to pick the one we didn't like, or.
We decided to do an extra one with either the worst film we saw or the most disappointing film you saw. I'll go first for this one.
Okay.
So I didn't really see anything that bad. That's why I added the most disappointed. My most disappointing movie of the year was actually one you probably forgot about, Knives Out. The one with Daniel Craig.
Oh, yeah.
There's
a lot of stars in it.
There's so many people in it. I saw so many 4-star reviews and 5-star reviews about this movie.
You know what? I looked up the house afterwards because the house looks so familiar to me.
That's one thing I'll give it. The set is cool.
And that house has been used in the film The Mermaids with Cher and Winona Ryder.
Oh,
it's
weird.
The same house kind of thing.
Weird.
But if on the outside, but maybe not on the inside.
But yeah, it's not a bad movie. But it's just I think it's because I saw so many great reviews about it, and then I watched it, and I was kind of like, it's okay.
Yeah.
The story's not great. The cast is very...
The quirkiness was good.
Here and there it was okay. It worked. I thought the cast was really...
The chair of the knives just felt like it was like making fun of Game of Thrones or something like that.
Maybe not. I don't know. It was trying to poke fun at like mystery movies, like older mystery movies, and like kind of twist those around. But
trying to be an artsy film, but
not really. No, it was trying to be more of a self-aware movie, which I get. That can be cool, but I don't think it totally worked. I thought the cast was really underused.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Craig? Was it Daniel Craig?
Not Daniel Craig, but one guy really stood out. The guy from Shape of Water. The bad guy in it.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know who I'm talking about. He's great in every movie. He's great in this movie, but he has so few scenes. There was almost like too many characters, and they couldn't focus on anyone besides the main character.
Yeah, I've pretty much forgotten that movie.
I thought the plot twists weren't that great. Daniel Craig's accent was a little bit weird. And I just kind of watched it, and I went like, why do people give this 4 stars? I maybe give it like 2.
Yeah, the whole setting was the best part about it.
Some of the sets were cool. Some of the humor worked. I liked the idea of the house being like there's hidden paths and like stuff to get around and like who did it really. Yeah. But I found like the ending twists weren't that great.
No.
The final few scenes weren't that great.
It was trying to be smart and funny, but no. Yeah,
I think Rian Johnson is a talented director. He did Looper and some Breaking Bad episodes.
Looper's okay.
Looper's alright.
Breaking Bad, yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. I'm waiting for him to do something really cool because I feel like he can. He just hasn't yet. But yeah, still a decent movie, just not my favorite. And I just didn't watch anything super bad I can think of at the moment from 2019. I just decided to do most disappointing because I was hyped for that movie, but it disappointed me. You go ahead.
Well,
though.
disappointing is not the word for this one for me. Yeah, I really did not like, and I was hoping that I would, but The Irishman really was a sleeper for me. Yeah,
I find that crazy.
Normally I am a Martin Scorsese fan.
You do like Martin Scorsese.
I do. I love the sort of the brotherhood theme.
Do you like Wolf of Wall Street, right? You like you like Silence.
I love Silence.
Yeah.
To me, that was the best, most recent film of his. I like
100%.
Goodfellas, but to me, this
100%.
was a trying to be Goodfellas kind of thing, and
a little bit.
I didn't like the special effects; would just seem wrong to me.
They look good in some scenes, and they do look odd. Especially, I found outside, especially those first few scenes when Robert De Niro is like delivering stuff. I found it looked a bit odd.
Robert De Niro trying to be an Irishman with the blue eyes was just bizarre.
I will give you that. I found it, especially Al Pacino's accent. It comes and goes, and it's kind of bad.
Yeah, and he's.
I kind of wish they did pitch an Irish cast. I get he. Yeah, apparently he worked with Robert De Niro to make this story.
Oh yeah, well obviously it was kind of like let's pick my friends and who I like and let's make a movie about the mafia because like that's gonna sell tickets.
At the same time though, well it's Netflix, they're not trying to sell tickets
or whatever.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it was Netflix too, because Netflix might have been more intrigued if it was all these big actors.
Well, even the acting, even though they were big actors, it was like bad acting. Poor writing.
I would disagree with the bad acting.
And it was like amateur directing.
Oh, I disagree. I think the movie's really well directed. I think the editing, especially
when he's like questionable, the quality of the whole film.
Getting his guns ready, when he's going into the restaurant to hit that guy. Even when he kills the other main character in the movie. I
had trouble watching the whole film. It was just to me like watching golf.
Wow, you really hate this movie because I disagree with most of those stuff. I think the editing was great.
I don't even know if I can watch it again to try and have an appreciation for it.
I've watched part of it again. I think it's a pretty good movie. I don't think it's the best Martin Scorsese movie, but it's a lot of stuff I like about it.
Would it be on your top 10 list?
It probably would. It'd probably be 10 or 9. I think it's good.
So it would be on the bottom of your top 10 list.
I agree with you some of the acting. I agree with you some of the parts of the CGI. But even the acting... who's the smaller guy's name in Goodfellas? Who's an Irishman?
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. I thought Joe Pesci was really good.
Well, that's probably the best part of it. And
I thought he was really good in Irishman.
Well,
especially
I'll give him a little kudos.
He got old in the movie in the prison scenes. I thought he was so good.
Maybe someday I'll have to watch it again.
Especially, like maybe I can agree with you parts of the Irishman, but especially the last hour of the movie, as these characters are just like aging and getting closer to their deaths. I found it the most interesting part of the movie and the most well done part of the movie.
Well, I hope Martin Scorsese's next film doesn't disappoint me the way this one. I mean, it can only go up from here.
Man, you hate this movie.
But I definitely am a fan of the Silence one.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not for everybody. That's quite.
No, I remember. I was watching with someone and they just like left during it because they were just like, nah, not into this movie. Silence is really good. But Irishman is not perfect, but I think there's a lot of good parts of it.
And so I guess that's it. We've gotten them all.
That's it. We're just going to argue about the Irishman.
Or maybe you'll try and talk me into watching again. And actually now that I know The Wave was on your list and High Life, I might change my list if I were to do it again. But it was good. It was good that we didn't tell each other what we had picked. I think that made it more interesting.
High Life?
Oh, sorry, not High Life. What did you say?
Beach Bum?
No, the other one about in the Alps.
A Hidden Life.
A Hidden Life. Sorry.
High Life.
High Life. That's is a good one. High Life is 2020 or 2018.
Wait, which one's High Life?
High Life. Isn't it about the bank robber guys, or is that I don't know. I'll have to look it up. It's a movie.
High Life.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a movie.
Okay, just to end this, there was one movie I'm surprised we both didn't put our top 5, but I think it would be in my top 10, was Uncut Gems.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I just found it incredibly stressful to watch. But
that's kind of the point.
That is the point, completely.
Completely. I forget the brothers' names, but...
It was intense.
Most of the movies...
that's I was thinking of their film before. What was their film?
Good Time.
Good Times, yeah.
All the movies are very high stress.
It was a really good film.
A lot going on.
It would be on my top 10.
One older movie of theirs you should watch is Heaven Knows What, about like some druggies in New York. Is really interesting. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.